Hey guys, what's up? It's Nathan Mills of Team EXT. As promised, here is the second installment of Get Good Scrub. So this second one today, I'm sure as you can see, we're going to be covering the side deck. So as part of the side deck, just a couple of things kind of that I wanted to go over. First up, I want to give you a quick explanation of what it actually is. So what is a side deck? It's what you do after games two and three. You can change your cards in your main deck. Obviously, you've got to put them back. It can give you a more favourable matchup after sideboarding, or it's something where you kind of take out cards that aren't very good against your opponent's main deck. Like I said in the first Get Good Scrub, I don't want to give too many specific examples because I want it to be something where this video can carry over time. But one example I could give you is if you've chosen to main deck Krinoa to go against Shigesh decks, what you'd be doing going forwards is if you're not playing against the Shigesh deck, you'd probably take out the Krinoas unless you really need it in your deck in order to actually get the draw one, something like that. But that's just a really quick example of what you can do in order to change the side deck. So what I want to go over is a couple of misconceptions that people have around side decking. So I do have, I think, about three different misconceptions that I want to go over. Something that I see quite a lot. So the biggest thing that I see players doing is oversiding. So by oversiding, I mean they go to the side deck, the sideboard, they pick up about 12 cards, they put all 12 cards in. And what that does is it just hits the consistency of your deck. It's something where you've putting so many side deck cards in, such a large proportion of your deck is now a side deck cards, and there's no synergy between them, and you could just get flooded with cards that don't work well together. And obviously, it can cause a huge problem if there's no synergy in your deck in order to beat your opponent. It's something where overside decking is probably worse than underside decking in every situation. So sometimes it might be best to actually not even side deck at all because you're playing against such a rogue deck that you didn't expect that you don't have anything in the sideboard. It's probably better just to stick with the consistency of your main deck rather than side decking any cards or too many cards. So that's something to bear in mind. You don't have to side deck and definitely don't over side deck. Next thing I see a lot of people doing is don't they don't kind of so when you're side decking, you've got a very good idea of if you're going to be going first or second. So if you lost the first game, you know if you're planning to go first or second, and usually your opponent will choose to go first. So you probably know that you're going to be going second. You're going to be on the draw if they lost the game. Something that people don't think about is how their side deck choices will affect them if they go in first or second. So, like I said, I don't want to give too many examples, but there's something where there's many cards that work a lot better on the draw than they do on the play in this game. So, some examples of that are the Trunks, the Kaba, the Gohan, the Awakening Talent Pan, Assay, and stuff like that, where you get to take the life and you get to 4 or 6 life faster by attacking with it. But if you're on the play, do you necessarily think it's a good idea to have 4 of them in your main deck? I'm not sure if it is. Obviously, that's something that you'd have to pick up and work out for your deck in playtesting. And the playtesting side of things is the last thing that I want to cover in misconceptions. So people do not playtest side deck games enough. So the way I look at this is you are at least going to play just as many side deck games as you would non-side deck games in a tournament. So you're going to play the first 2 games. If you win both of them, great. So you're going to at least play just as many side deck games as unside deck games. But it's possible that you're going to play twice as many side deck games as you would unside decked games. So, with that in mind, why wouldn't you practice side decked games if you're going to play twice as many of them? It's so important to practice it and make sure you've got a good understanding of what you're actually going to do, what you're bringing in and taking out in matchups and whatever. It's something that you need to play test. It's something that you need to practice. And then finally, what I want to do is kind of go over how you get around the misconceptions or planning ahead for what you're actually going to do. So the big thing that I think is important while creating your side deck is predicting the meta. So it's a really important skill to have in card games is predicting what's going to be popular, what's going to be strong. A lot of people can't do it well or consistently, but if it's something that you're good at, it's going to serve you well. It's difficult to be consistent with because you can predict the meta really well for one event. There's another event a couple of days later, and the meta is completely different. It's something that you need to keep on top of because depending on your meta, whether that be a local meta, so at your locals, or a larger scale event, if you predict the meta well and you put the cards in your side deck to counter that meta, you're probably going to do a lot better than people that didn't predict the meta well. So let's look at it in the two different ways. So if you're trying to predict your local meta, I'm assuming that you've got some sort of group chat. If one of your friends has just pulled the new card that works in a deck, and they really want to play the deck, they're talking about wanting to play the deck, what deck do you think? What deck do you think they're actually going to play at locals next week? I think it's going to be the new deck they're really excited to play. If you want to spoil their fun, make sure you side the cards that go against it. And similarly, if you go into a larger scale event and there's a hyped meta deck that all the top players are playing, it's been discussed on all the groups, you're probably going to see a lot of that. And it's probably important for you to side deck against that deck because it's going to be one of the decks that's probably going to be most played. So when you're building your side deck, you need to keep the decks in mind. Again, if there's a deck that you struggle against, you know you struggle against it, but it's not very popular. As you're playtesting, there might be a couple of cards that you don't actually side in or out that you have in the side deck. If you notice you never take them in or out, if you never actually use them, what's the point in being there? They're flex spots. They're something when it could be replaced against a rogue deck that you've got a bad matchup against, and you just want to put a couple of side deck cards in just in case you see that deck. It's something where you're planning ahead could be really important. It could be something where you're not actually seeing the deck at all, but if you know it's an auto loss against, for example, think of a rogue deck. What's that? The Mechian one where they make you discard cards. I forgot the name. The one that makes you discard cards. You want to put a tower in your side deck to go against it. You might not see the deck, but you know it's an auto loss if you do see it, and the towers are really going to help you out. The last thing that I want to cover on this planning aspect of it is something that I think the high-level Magic players do, where they make notes to say against a matchup, I'm going to take out A, B, and C cards, and I'm going to replace them with X, Y, and Z cards out of my side there. So if you've got that, I know in Dragon Ball you can't actually write down notes, unfortunately. I don't understand why. It's just one of the rules. You are allowed to make notes, but it's something where if you try to remember that against X matchup, I'm going to take out A, B, and C, replace them with X, Y, and Z. That's really going to help you because that's something that you've planned ahead. It's not something where you're in the heat of the moment and you're making a good decision. It's something that you've tested. It's something that you know works well after you side decked. It's something that you've planned out ahead of time. And again, going to caveat that, like I said earlier, it could be something where you put in X, Y, and Z and take out A, B, C on the draw. But when you're on the play, you put B card back, and you take out Y card because it's not very good on the draw, or the other way around, something like that. It's something where you need to play test. So play testing is important with side deck cards. You need to get your side deck down. You need to understand what's coming in, what's going out, and you need to chop and change it depending on the meta, whether that's a local meta or a larger scale meta. It's something where, like I said, your side deck games, you could be playing twice as many side deck games as you are non-side decked. It's super important to make sure that you've got your side deck correct. It's predicted the meta well. You know what you're putting in and taking out against set matchups, and you know every card in that side there is important. It's something where it's going to cover something because you've only got 15 cards to do that in. So it's something where it's really tight on space and something that you really need to play test and just make sure you've got it down. So yeah, that's everything that I wanted to cover on this episode of Get Good Scrub. Same as last time, if we get 30 likes, so I believe we're at 170, subscribers. So we're at 170 subscribers. So if we get up to 200 subscribers, that's when the next episode of Get Good Scrub will come out. Alternatively, if I think I did too many likes last time, if we get 25 likes on this video, I'll bring out the next episode as well. I do think the next episode I'm gonna start talking about helpful tips to work out percentages or the likelihood of your opponent having certain cards. So stay tuned for that next time. If you haven't subscribed already, make sure you do, and please like our videos. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a good day. Cheers.